Welcome to the Spotlight series by My Digital Nomad Guide, where we break down the real legal pathways to living and working abroad. If you've ever felt overwhelmed or confused, unsure where to even start when it comes to relocating internationally, this series is built for you. Today, I'm joined by Cristian Balcells, CEO and founder of Balcells Group, a firm specialized in helping foreigners relocate to Spain from a legal and tax perspective. In this conversation, we're going beyond the digital nomad visa and exploring the full range of options people should actually be considering. Cristian, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Gracias. It's a pleasure to meet you. Love having you on. Can you briefly introduce yourself and explain how your firm helps foreigners relocate to Spain?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to share what is my passion, which is immigration. I've been doing for over 15 years to help people to come to Spain to live and to have their taxes, their business, and their legal things covered. I'm the founder of Balcells Group. I was born in Barcelona and I studied law here. And since 2010, 2012, I'm helping foreigners to relocate to Spain from a strategically point of view. What do I mean with the strategy? It's not just the immigration, it's also the taxes, it's also the perspective of opening a business, it's the family members, the relocation itself, to have a strategy of a holistic way to practice and focus the journey to come to live to Spain.
Perfect, because it's not just as simple as getting a visa, as you well know. What types of clients are you most commonly working with right now, and how has that changed in recent years?
One of my goals is to give the service to everybody, from the student to the investor to the highly skilled professional to the digital nomad. It's something that comes along with my personality to help everybody. The office is open to all profiles, but of course, as we are very oriented to English-speaking clients, the most popular visas, remote workers, then the people who wants to start a company or a project in Spain, and also the highly skilled professionals. The last years, the immigration changed in Spain, especially since the digital nomad visa was approved, because now the people who comes to Spain is not only that they come to enjoy the country, they come because they want to have this flexibility to work remotely from Spain. There is now more interest on this flexibility that Spain gives to the digital nomad visa than 3 years ago where this didn't exist.
Perfect. Yeah, I believe that was 2023.
Exactly. 3 years.
The digital nomad visa does get a lot of attention. Who would you say it's actually best suited for?
The digital nomad visa, it includes flexibility on the labor. And the digital nomad for those who want to continue their work structure, but not in the country, in Spain. So I'm working for a company in the US and I want to maintain all my structure of my labor relation, but I want to do it from another country, in this case, Spain. This flexibility is either for employees or for businessmen.
Right. And I believe there's a difference between self-employed versus employed, correct?
Yes, they approved this law in January of 2023. They wanted to be attractive and competitive with other European countries. They introduced the special tax regime, the Beckham law, for those who come as an employee.
There are some specific requirements regarding that, right? What are some things people should be aware of in terms of the requirements, the various applicable laws or tax applications around the different types of visas?
There would be 3 things very important. The first one is that if I come as an employee, during the next 6 years, I can get a special tax regime, which is 24% on your salary, and you don't need to declare worldwide your assets. So you don't need to pay for your wealth abroad. The second thing to consider is that the self-employed have to pay regular taxes in Spain, and they have to pay Social Security, which in Spain is high. Depends on the incomes, but you need to understand that if you come as a self-employed, you will have similar taxes as a Spanish citizen. And what you were commenting is that there is a limitation as a self-employed that maximum 20% of your annual incomes can come from Spanish clients.
With that being said, if somebody feels overwhelmed, they don't know where to start, what would you recommend as a first step for researching various options to relocate to Spain?
What I would recommend, first of all, is to have a meeting with one of our lawyers or with a professional on the immigration sector to listen first. What we do is to listen to the client needs, because it's about the taxes, it's about your work, it's about your family, it's about your future. So we have to do a strategy to cover all this, because some people, they don't pay attention that the wife has to do this, or they don't pay attention that after 3 years, they won't be able to renew it, or they don't pay attention that perhaps they could come with a non-lucrative visa and they will pay less taxes. So it's complex enough to have a consultation to understand what would be the best option.
And what should people prepare even before starting that process?
First of all, they need to have an interest to live in Spain. So normally the clients that want to apply for a permit in Spain love it. They love our wine, our beaches, our food, our culture. And this would be the step zero, not to have an interest in a country that gives such a high quality of life, not being very expensive, and with a very good healthcare public system. So the step zero would be to choose Spain, to see if they are in the working period, to see which would be the best option for them in a labor and tax perspective.
And why do you think so many people are currently exploring relocation to Spain?
In my opinion, Spain is one of the best countries in the world in terms of quality of life, because here in Spain we have all type of weathers. We have snow, we have beaches, we have desert, what you can expect. Also in terms of culture, we are an ancestry country in Europe, so we have a long story in our people, and also our culture of food, of the gastronomy. This is very attractive. The people is very nice. All these combined give Spain a very powerful, and also still our prices are lower than in other countries. The life here is not so expensive. Some people, they come because they say, in Spain, I will earn money because in the US, I pay double. All these together give this impact.
How important is it to do that strategically rather than just applying for a visa quickly, and maybe some best practices or things to consider?
In a relocation process, people used to think that immigration is the most important, but if you choose a wrong immigration procedure, then this will have implications in your taxes, in your family, in your renewals, in everything. The best always is to understand who you are and what you want and how we can structure all this. For example, in Spain, the school starts in September. So we need to take a look into this if you want to bring your kids under 18. The tax period is between April and June. We have also to decide in which moment you have to come to pay less taxes on the first year. There is several things that you need to analyze to take the right decision.
What do you think the most common mistakes or things that tend to surprise people as they go through the visa application?
The most common mistakes are three. The first one is that they ignore the tax consequences of a residency permit in Spain. I have every week, one or two. Today I had one consultation. Oh, I got the visa with one lawyer, but he never told me I have to pay taxes. This would be the most common mistake. The second mistake is that I thought I could apply from Spain, and they travel to Spain, but the process itself, it has to be done through the Spanish consulate. For example, the non-lucrative visa, you have to do through the consulate. You cannot do it in Spain. Some people, they come here because ChatGPT said to them that they can do the things in Spain, and sometimes it's not possible. When you choose a permit, you need to understand how is the renewal process. The bureaucratic documents that I say to my clients are always the same. Criminal records, birth certificate, marriage certificate, all these three documents, they have to be from the last 6 months with a special seal that is called Apostille of the Hague, and then to do the translation into Spanish by a recognized translator in Spain. But generally speaking, what is in all the permits is the criminal records, birth certificate, and marriage certificate legalized. This changed a lot during the years. Now, most of the permits you can apply from Spain, like the digital nomad visa, you can do it in Spain. The highly skilled, you can do it in Spain. The intra-corporate transfer, you can do it in Spain. The startup visa, you can do it in Spain. But there is one that is very popular as well, the non-lucrative visa. All the processes at the Spanish consulate in the country of residency. Other than that, most of the permits you can do here now. If you apply through the consulate, you will get 1 year. But if you apply, you will get directly 3 years. Our advice is always don't do anything at the consulate if you want to come as a remote worker, because it's worth to do it all in Spain. The non-lucrative visa, you have to do all the process in the consulate, and they give you 1 year. Then the renewal in Spain is 2 years and then 5.
When people need to do a renewal or extension, what are some things that maybe people don't think of or should be considering?
For the renewals, there are two concepts. The first one is that you have to reside most of the time in Spain, at least 6 months per year. The second thing is that you have to maintain the requirements that gave you the initial authorization.
How do taxes factor into choosing the right visa or residency path?
Spain, in terms of taxes, there is three possibilities. The first is you reside less than 6 months per year. You are not tax resident. You don't pay taxes, but you don't have a residence permit, so you can come as a tourist. The second option would be Beckham law. This is a special tax regime through the digital nomad as an employee, as a highly skilled. For 6 years, you pay 24% on your salary and you don't declare your wealth worldwide. And the option three, I reside in Spain and I pay taxes as a regular taxpayer.
If someone feels overwhelmed, they don't know where to start, and someone is thinking to themselves, I really want to move to Spain, what would you recommend as their first step?
Well, they have to consider that it's an immigration process in a country that has the things very well regulated. They don't have to overstress that they are going to be rejected. It's just to follow the rules of Spain. Some people, they say, it's going to be impossible. It's an immigration process. My advice would be, don't be afraid because it's possible and the requirements are not tough.
Any additional advice? If somebody is seriously considering moving to Spain?
I would give two advices. The first one is when you move to Spain to consider the immigration process, the taxes, and the renewals. Have an idea of these three things. One, where, and the second thing is that 15 years doing this, I can assure that most of the clients, if not all, that decided to come to Spain, they are extremely happy. It's always positive. If you are thinking to move into Spain, check our website. You can book an appointment with one of our lawyers. Very easy. We focus on the visa and get a tax strategy to make it happen in the proper way.